to me, I think the Roger Moore and Sean Connery James Bond films are dad movies. And I have 3 specific ones that I want to shout out, but I think really all of them are worth a watch. First, I want to go with The Spy Who Loved Me. That is the first one in which Jaws is in. I love Jaws, best henchman of all time. Goldfinger, which is among the best James Bond films ever made. And then From Russia with Love, which has...
I think that was the first one.
Dr. No is the first one.
Oh.
But it has the titular villain of Robert Shaw. And it is very, very good. All 3 very much worth watching, but those are the timeless James Bond films as far as I'm concerned. And the very good quality...
Well, they say Goldfinger's the classic.
I mentioned it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mentioned 3.
I should listen when you talk.
The Spy Who Loved Me, Goldfinger, and From Russia with Love.
Thunderball is one of my favorites.
That... I
know,
don't want to... The underwater... I need to rewatch it because you're not alone. It's a very polarizing movie, but some people love it. And I think... I mean, it was the first time I saw it. So
Is that the one...
It's underwater, mostly.
Yeah, then that kind of takes away. But is that the one where he has this small helicopter? There's one where he is somewhere...
I've seen them all. I honestly can't remember.
And
but there's someone who's in makeup, or not in makeup. He's like in costume as he's dead at the end. It's a funeral for James Bond where he's like undercover, fights the guy, and kills him in like a fireplace study type room, and he needs the little helicopter, I think, to get away, if I'm remembering right.
Well, the one I'm talking about, and I thought it was Thunderball. Like it had they gave it a female name, this helicopter, and they sent a crate over and they assembled it, and it was a helicopter, a small one, and had a ton of weapons on it. So he was flying around in this thing, and so shooting missiles and all that stuff.
Beep, beep,
and
beep,
back
beep.
Then, that was so cool. I mean, Bond back then, if you wanted to see great special effects, you saw it in Bond movies.
Yes, they didn't CGI shit.
Well, no, I mean, it was prior, I mean, there were ones where they're flying in the air, and I'm like,
well,
hope they don't mess this up.
And it's fucking the Pierce Brosnan ones. People love him, and I get it. His performance was never the low light of it. Those movies, for the most part, suck so bad. There's a couple ones that are still okay.
Yeah.
Some of them. The one with Halle Berry, I believe, and there's CGI, but it sucks so fucking bad. It's like it mars the entire run that Pierce Brosnan had.
Yeah.
He had the worst scripts to roll with. I'm a Roger Craig guy. Not Roger Craig.
Roger Moore.
No.
Sean Connery.
The last guy to do it. Craig.
Oh, Roger Craig.
Is it Roger Craig?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. I'm a Daniel Craig guy, honestly. But Connery's very, like, that close behind him.
I mean, because everybody's like, Sean Connery's Bond, Sean Connery. And, but then Daniel Craig really has done a great job as Bond. He's been a very good Bond. And they made a very good decision to bring him in because the franchise was just really bland, getting really bland. But they've made so many movies. I mean, you think about sequels. I mean, that's what Bond is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the ultimate sequel movie. It's made several $1 billion.
But there's so many novels. And
I think they're out of novels. Ian Fleming was the original writer of Bond. Now, I don't know if someone's taken up the mantle, because he's dead. I'm almost sure. Ian Fleming. And I said one time they said who Bond was actually based on. And he wasn't an English person. He was somebody...
Scottish, I think.
No. He wasn't even that. I mean, he was like Middle Eastern or something. Or from Eastern Europe.
That's racist.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, why is that racist? What do you do that to me?
I kid. But
I feel bad.
Apparently, I think Christopher Lee, as someone on my letterbox said that Christopher Lee was partially he inspired James Bond, which is funny because he ends up playing the man with the golden gun.
No, how? I mean, did he
I'll
work as a
just-
spy?
He was in the military in World War II.
Well, the guy I'm talking about, no, it might be Christopher Lee. Okay, Ian Fleming's been dead forever.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that you had, really wanted to look that up. I don't know when he wrote the books, but it was a while
3
ago.
years after I was born, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was. It's like asking, is William G. Harding dead?
Fun fact, Christopher Lee and Ian Fleming were cousins and served alongside each other in the war. Lee was Fleming's inspiration in creating James Bond. That's what someone said. I don't know if that's fact. Gummy, if you pulled a fast one on me, well, I'll see you in hell. But he might have. We'll double check that on the fly. But yeah, that was one of the comments on my review for that film. And if it's true, it's a fun fact. If it's not true, then we all get to have a little laugh together. But yeah, I think James Bond, spy films, action, women, gadgets, most guys are going to be into that, and I think most dads are really going to appreciate that. And that's why I chose the Roger Moore and the Sean Connery ones, because I think for most dads, those are probably your Bonds. You know, if you're a little younger, Roger Moore is probably your guy. But if you're old enough to have watched Sean Connery while he was doing the damn thing, he's probably makes the most sense for him to be your James Bond.
Yeah. Okay, so it was an amalgamation of different people he met during the war.
Is there any mention of Christopher Lee?
No, there is not.
And did Christopher Lee serve in the war with Ian Fleming? Just check that. And while you do that,
Should I just look at Christopher Lee's bio so I know everything about him?
that would be a good episode.
Christopher Lee earned with... No! Christopher Lee did not serve with Ian Fleming, but they were step-cousins. Lee was offered the role of Dr. No in the first James Bond film. So, let me tell you how wrong you were. No, but...
Well, there was some fact to it. I'm glad we cleared it up.
Something interesting, yeah. So, there's
I
something
mean, we
I
were
read...
cousins, so that part was right, I guess.
Step-cousins.
Okay. Fucking... What are cousins anyways?
I don't know. A step-cousin, I guess I could try to think about what that is if I cared that much.
Is it Donald Pleasance is maybe in it? He's the bald guy who's like crazy.
I don't remember. I mean, I know as Blofeld, he was the Bond villain. Mm-hmm. Blofeld. Nobody, except maybe Christopher Walken, who was a Bond villain in one. I can't remember which one, but he was. I mean, Christopher Walken's just. He could do a commercial, and I would think,
He was in the one with the black chick.
Right. Grace. No.
She was good friends with the guy who played Ivan Drago.
Oh, really?
I can't remember her name. It's but yeah, I know the one. Yeah, it's basically Christopher Walken kind of plays Donald Trump so much that they have to put a warning that they didn't base it off of him.
No, they didn't. Donald Trump was probably 20 years old then. That's an old movie.
I'm going to say he was 76. But I don't know.
Do you know how many years ago that was? 50. How old would Trump be? He's 79 now. All right, he would have been 29. He wasn't running New York at that. No, don't shake your head.
I mean, might have been. Maybe he was in the 80s.
He played a psychotic. One guy, he got all these people together on a dirigible.
I don't know what that is.
That's a blimp. You idiot.
Oh.
All right,
call it a Zeppelin then.
A Zeppelin, they're called dirigibles.
Don't be a...
So the one guy, like there's 5 of them around, they're coming up with some diabolical plan. And they say, you in. And this one guy said, no, I don't think I'm into this. So he pressed a button, which Christopher Walken, he flew out of the bottom. He slid out of the bottom.
I love that scene so much. By the way, check out my James Bond retrospective if you enjoy us talking about it. because
Nah.
it was a good ass video. One of my best. One of my very
Hey,
best.
subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying we'll really be
But
sad.
I mean, if you...
Do you want to make nice people sad? I don't think you do.
I really, truly do think that James Bond is pinnacle dad movies. I truly do believe that.
No, yeah, I think you're right. You're absolutely right. And you think about how many of them. Because
27 total if you count the original Casino Royale. Which was a
Peter
parody.
Sellers?
Yeah, it's a parody of James Bond
of
films.
James Bond. So, I'm like,
Sucks.
oh, I love Thunderball. That was such a cool movie. And then it's like, okay, we got to do a book report. I don't know what grade I was in. Probably middle school. I'm going to do Thunderball. And I got it, and I started reading. I'm like, wow, what a mistake I made. This is like...
Is the book that
legit.
bad?
It's not that it's that bad. It's like, back in those days, read all the time now. Back then, if I read like something that was 30 pages over a period of a month, it was a big deal. So this was written by Ian Fleming. I'm saying it's literature, but it's, he was a very talented writer, and he wasn't,
He was probably a lot more...
verbose and...
Exactly.
I can't think of another cool word to say, but...
Advanced.
Yeah,
reading.
I was trying to think of a eloquent say, what shall we say, or urbane.
Shamasay, maybe.
Shamasay.
I think that's how
That's how I greet people now, and they look at me the weirdest way when I do that.
Okay, I was wrong. It was not Roger Moore. It was Roger Moore. It was A View to a Kill, and I believe her name is Grace Jones.
Okay, I was going to say Grace Slick, but that's not it. She
is
was from
Grace Jones.
Jefferson Airplane.
So it was in 85, and Trump was kind of running shit by then.
Really?
I think. Wasn't he?
He was probably in college.
No, man. One of the WrestleMania 6 was in Trump Plaza.
Okay. I'm not saying he wasn't wealthy, but so
WrestleMania 1 was 85.
Listen, we can put this all to bed. Did they have a warning thing regarding Christopher Walken?
It does not mention Donald Trump by name, but I looked up why, because I'm like, who's this supposed to be? Because he's blonde, he's really rich, and
There's
you're
1,000 guys like that.
Like Trump?
No, like the
That
character
have the name,
Christopher Walken.
The name value, the personality, and the wealth that Trump has.
You are high.
It'd be like
Again.
if you made an electric or like.
Did you make this up? I think you did. I think you think it could be true and have no knowledge.
I just looked it up and people were saying I think they did that so that they could avoid people saying you were.
What was the warning that they said?
This
Christopher Walken. This character is not.
Character is not based on any real person.
Well, no, kid. That doesn't mean
they don't do that every movie.
I think
they don't do that.
On
they don't do that every movie. No, they do not.
All right,
look it up.
I'm gonna just
look it up. I don't know what you're gonna look up, but
yeah, it's gonna be hard.
But anywho,
you can't prove it's not true.
I'm telling you, just look up if there's a warning and take my word for it.
All right.
Because I was watching them in relatively quick succession. They don't do that every movie. There has to be a reason. Or look up, was Christopher Walken Bond based on Trump? I'm not saying he was, but I think they wanted to very much avoid a defamation case because his character is so similar to Trump. And I'm not saying I dislike Trump by any means, and that, oh, that's what Trump's like. I'm just saying that was why they put that warning at the beginning. And then I expect you to give me a movie after you're done. But, in the heated debate, you got to fact check. You got to get the numbers right.
Okay, there was
There
a
was
warning. It was not based on any real life company or person. But I don't think anything to do with.
Just look up, was Christopher Walken based on Trump? And people will be like, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, you're wrong. Better look it up.
And in the meantime, the people got to know, if you've ever argued with your dad Sometimes
You're going to lose.
getting a win is more meaningful than the sun coming up in the morning. It's more meaningful than a cold breeze on a summer day. It's more meaningful than rain in a drought. So when you have the opportunity to really stick it to your old man, you better take it and you best come correct. And that's what this podcast is really all about. Because if you don't honor the men who paved the way by...
I love the song by Duran Duran, A View to a Kill. I still think that's an awesome song. I love that song.
It's just Duran Duran. Well, I like other Bond songs more.
Name one.
Skyfall's really good.
Sing it.
When the sky falls,
Oh, that
when
sucks.
it crumbles.
Oh my god.
I had a playlist actually. Oh, and there's another one by Billie Eilish that's actually really good. It's one of the Daniel Craig ones. It's a good song. I'd play it, but we'd get the episode copyrighted. All right, no more looking stuff up. Just me and you talking.
I can do multitask.
No, because I have to carry the weight for you while you're looking stuff up.
No, you don't.
So
I'm not looking. I'm so close. In a view to a kill.
we're gonna get copyright striked if you sing it like that. You're too good.
Too close.